The sun of planet Aruna burned like a giant torch in the sky, turning the sand red and the air heavy. In the middle of the city square, thousands of alien citizens gathered around a huge pit filled with rising flames. Their voices mixed into a cruel chant, echoing across the stone walls. "Sinner! Curse! Burn her!" The crowd wanted only one thing: punishment. And in the center of this storm stood Lyra, a thin alien girl with glowing blue eyes and dust-covered clothes. Her wrists were tied with metal ropes that dug deep into her skin. Her knees shook, not because she was weak, but because she had not slept for days. The guards behind her pushed her forward. Her bare feet slipped on the hot stones, and she almost fell into the fire. The heat touched her face, and she felt her skin begin to burn. But she stayed silent. She had already cried earlier. Now she had no tears left. Aruna believed that anyone who dishonored the clan must be burned alive. No trial, no mercy. Lyra had been branded a sinner for reasons she didn't understand. One day she was a simple girl working in the temple library. The next day she was dragged through the streets by guards shouting lies that she had shamed the elders. Her own sister Mira stood on the stairs of the council platform. Her face was cold and unreadable. She did not call out to stop the punishment. She did not even blink. That coldness broke Lyra more than the fire ever could. On the other side of the square, standing near a merchant stall, was a human soldier named Captain Jace Rowan. He had arrived on Aruna only 2 days earlier for peace research and supply checks. He expected meetings, reports, and maybe a friendly dinner with local leaders. He did not expect to see a child pushed toward a burning pit like an animal at first. Jace thought he misunderstood the situation. Humans and Arunans had different customs. But when he saw Lyra, her thin form trembling, her terrified eyes searching for help, it hit him like a punch. She was a child. And they were going to burn her alive. The guard closest to her raised a long staff and shouted, "Push her in!" Jace felt something snap inside him. His training told him to stay calm. His orders told him to avoid conflict with locals. But his heart, his human heart, refused to stay still. The moment the guard grabbed Lyra's ropes to throw her into the fire, a loud shout broke the air. "Stop!" Everyone turned. There stood Jace Rowan, tall, armored, and furious. For a second, the entire crowd fell silent. Humans rarely interfered in alien punishments. The council members whispered to each other in shock. The guards didn't move, unsure of what to do. Lyra slowly lifted her head. She had expected death, but instead she saw a human, someone from another world, standing between her and the flames. Jace's voice was strong. "Why are you burning a child?" "She is a sinner," the head guard barked. "She dishonored the clan." Jace stepped closer and looked at Lyra. She was barely conscious. Her skin was burned, her lips dry, and her body shaking from exhaustion. She could not even stand straight. "She looks like she can barely walk," Jace said. "What sin did she commit?" The guard growled, "Human! Stay back. This is Arunan law." Jace clenched his jaw. He watched as heat from the fire licked closer to Lyra. He saw her sway, ready to fall. And at that moment, he realized something. If he did nothing, she would die right in front of him. His instincts made the decision before his mind could think. He ran. The crowd gasped as the human soldiers sprinted straight toward the fire pit. The guards shouted and reached for their weapons, but Jace was already moving faster than they expected. He leaped down the small slope into the burning pit just as Lyra's knees gave out. Flames rose up like angry snakes, trying to bite his armor. The metal grew dangerously hot, but Jace didn't stop. He caught Lyra in his arms before she hit the fire. Her body was light, too light for a child her age. She was trembling like a leaf in the storm. When her head touched his chest, she whispered a weak, confused word. "Why?" "Help me." Jace tightened his grip around her. "Because you don't deserve this. Not like this." The flames rose behind them, glowing bright orange. The crowd looked frozen in disbelief. Jace stepped out of the pit, carrying Lyra in both arms. The guards immediately raised their spears. Human! The leader shouted. Put the sinner down, or die with her. Jace's eyes narrowed. His voice turned cold. She dies innocent, and I will not let that happen. The crowd gasped. The guards aimed their weapons at him. Lyra, clinging weakly to his armor, whispered, "Please, don't let them burn me." "I won't," Jace said. "Not while I'm alive." For a moment, time paused. Then the guard commander gave the order, "Attack the human." The moment the guard commander shouted, "Attack the human," chaos exploded in the city square. Arunan soldiers rushed forward with sharp spears and burning staffs. The crowd screamed and scattered in every direction. But Jace did not wait for them to reach him. He tightened his hold on Lyra and turned to run. Lyra's body was weak and shaking in his arms. She held onto his armor with whatever strength she had left. The heat from the fire pit still burned her skin, and her breaths came in small gasps. Jace could feel every tremble. He whispered, "Stay awake. I've got you." But the guards were fast. Arunan warriors were trained to hunt in narrow streets and tall towers. Their long steps gained on Jace as he ran through the marketplace. Stalls overturned behind him, baskets crashed on the ground, fruits rolled everywhere. Merchants ducked behind their tables, terrified by the sudden violence. Jace turned sharply into a narrow alley. The walls were close, the shadows dark. The girl whispered, almost in tears, "Why? Are you saving me?" "No one saves sinners." Jace breathed hard but answered simply, "Because you're not a sinner." Lyra didn't respond. Her eyes were half closed, her face pale. Behind them, heavy footsteps echoed. The guards had entered the alley. "Human!" One of them shouted. "Surrender the girl now." Jace didn't stop. He ran deeper into the twisting paths, past old stone buildings with glowing doors. He slipped through a side passage, climbed 2 steps, and kicked open a wooden gate. His boots hit the ground hard as he emerged into a wide street lit by floating lanterns. The problem was, this street was full of soldiers. Drones buzzed above like metal insects, scanning everything with red lights. Jace ducked into a small courtyard just as the drones turned toward him. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. This place was a trap. He quickly checked Lyra. Her eyes were closing again. Her breaths shallow. "You're burning up," he whispered. Her voice came weak and broken. "They branded me. With sign mark. It burns from inside." Jace had seen many wounds in war, but never something like this. Lines of glowing energy pulsed under her skin like fire veins. Someone had used cruel tech on her. He looked around. He needed a place to hide. And fast. A broken tower stood at the corner of the courtyard, its door hanging off its hinges. It looked abandoned. Perfect. Jace rushed inside. The tower was dark and cold. Dust covered the floor, and old metal pipes rattled softly in the wind. Jace leaned Lyra against the wall, gently lowering her to sit. She winced in pain but forced her eyes open enough to look at him. "You could still leave. They will kill you too." Jace crouched beside her. His face was calm but firm. "You're a child, and I don't leave children to burn." Her glowing eyes softened, confusion mixing with fear. No one had spoken to her like that before, not even her own family. Outside, footsteps approached. Dozens. Jace quickly scanned Lyra with his small handheld device. The results flashed: Sinbrand, artificial, illegal, applied recently, dangerous. His jaw tightened. This wasn't punishment, he whispered. This was a setup. Lyra lowered her gaze. Her voice, small and shaking, finally told the truth. "They wanted to silence me. Because I found something. Something I shouldn't have." "What did you find?" Jace asked before she could answer. Boom. The tower's front door blasted open. Dust flew everywhere. Stones fell from the walls. Someone stepped inside through the smoke. Jace immediately lifted his weapon and shielded Lyra with his body. A familiar voice spoke from the shadows. Lyra. Little sister. Come with me. Lyra froze in fear. It was Mira, her older sister. Her armor shined. Her eyes were cold. She walked slowly toward them, hands raised as if to calm Jace. I am not here to harm you, she said softly. I came alone. Please give Lyra to me. Jace didn't move. Lyra's voice trembled. Mira, why did you watch them burn me? Why didn't you stop them? For the first time, Myra's smile cracked. Her eyes shifted away. You do not understand the forces behind this, Mira whispered. I want to help you. Come quietly. I know a safe way out. Jace didn't trust her, not even slightly. And Lyra. She looked terrified. Mira, Jace said firmly. Safe paths don't start with burning pits. Mira sighed. Human, step aside. You don't know what you are risking. Jace held Lyra closer. I know exactly what I'm doing. Mira's eyes turned sharp. Then you leave me no choice. She snapped her fingers. Drones outside activated instantly. And the tower filled with red scanning beams. She had betrayed them. She never came alone. Jace grabbed Lyra and ran deeper into the tower as dozens of soldiers stormed. Dust filled the dark tower halls as Jace carried Lyra deeper inside. Behind him, the sound of metal boots and drone engines echoed like thunder. The tower was old, full of twisted pipes, broken stairs, and long-forgotten machines. Jace moved quickly, stepping over fallen beams and shattered tiles. Lyra clung weakly to his armor. Her head rested against his shoulder, her breath shaky and uneven. The glowing marks under her skin pulsed brighter with every step, spreading heat through her body. Jace whispered, Stay awake a little longer. We're not safe yet. She opened her eyes halfway, though they looked tired and almost lifeless. Why does this happen? My body burns. It hurts. Jace looked at her glowing wounds. The energy lines looked like fire trapped beneath her skin. That's what I need to understand, he said softly. And I think you know something. Behind them, Myra's voice shouted orders. Search every floor. The human and the girl must not escape. The tower shook again as drones crashed through windows. Red lights scanned the walls. If they stayed here, they would be found. Jace slipped into an old maintenance room. He closed the metal door and pushed a broken shelf in front of it. The room was dim, lit only by a cracked skylight. Dust floated in the air like quiet snow. He gently placed Lyra on the floor and opened his scanner again. The device detected the energy patterns inside her body unstable, unnatural. This wasn't a natural punishment, Mark. This was deliberate. Someone used advanced tech to silence her. Jace looked at her. Lyra, listen to me. That mark on your skin, it's not from a sacred ritual. It was placed to hurt you. Why? What did you see? For a moment, she didn't speak. She looked scared, not of Jace, but of the truth. Finally, she whispered, In the temple. I found a room I was not supposed to enter. Jace leaned closer. What room? The archive chamber, she said, voice trembling. Only council members can go inside. But one night I heard sounds. Like someone crying. I thought someone needed help. Her fingers shook as she held her burned wrist. When I went inside, I found records. Old recordings. They showed the council. Stealing the people's offerings, taking secret payments from off-world traders, lying about the sickness, lying about everything. Her eyes filled with tears. I saw something else too. Something they fear more than anything. Jace placed a hand on her shoulder. What was it? But before she could answer, the wall behind them shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling. The shelf trembled against the door. Lyra flinched. "They're close." Jace raised his weapon and whispered, "We'll move soon. Just tell me who put the sin brand on you." She lowered her head. "The High Council ordered it, but it was Mira who held me down." Jace felt a cold rage rise inside him. "Your own sister?" Lyra nodded. "She didn't look at me. She didn't speak. She just did it." A soft sob escaped her lips. Jace crouched beside her. He spoke gently. "Lyra, they did this to you because you know the truth. You are not a sinner. You are a witness." Her eyes widened slightly at his words, as if no one had ever said something so kind to her. Before she could respond, the shelf shattered into pieces. Boom. The door burst open. Guards stormed in. Drones flew overhead, flashing red lights everywhere. Mira stepped in last. Her face was calm, but her eyes full of iron. "Lyra," she said quietly, "stop running. You are making this worse." Jace stood between them, weapon raised. "Mira," he growled, "you branded an innocent child." Mira's jaw tightened. "This is bigger than you, human. Step aside or you will die." Lyra pushed herself upright, trembling. "Sister, why are you doing this? What did I do wrong?" For a moment, Mira's eyes softened, but only for a heartbeat. "You saw something you should never have seen," she replied coldly. "And I must fix this." Jace prepared to fire, but Mira signaled the guards. "Take them." Jace grabbed Lyra's hand and sprinted toward a side door. Blaster shots hit the walls, filling the air with sparks. He kicked the door open, and they rushed down a collapsed staircase. "Hold on," he shouted. They reached the lower level, the old generator room. Pipes hissed steam, and shadows moved in strange patterns. Lyra coughed weakly. "Jace, they won't stop. They want me dead." Jace looked into her terrified eyes. "Then I'll make sure they don't touch you." Footsteps echoed from above. The guards were coming. Jace took a deep breath. The only escape now was into the underground tunnels. The truth Lyra carried was dangerous, and someone powerful wanted it buried. Forever. Jace laid Lyra down the cracked metal stairs into the generator level. The deeper they went, the colder the air became, filled with the smell of old oil and rust. Broken pipes hissed softly, leaking thin streams of steam like warning whispers. Above them, the heavy footsteps of guards echoed through the hollow tower. Drones hummed angrily, their red lights searching every corner. Lyra stumbled as she reached the bottom. Jace caught her before she fell. "You're burning up again," he said quietly. "I can still walk," she whispered, though her legs trembled. Jace shook his head. "You're hurt. I'll carry you." Before she could protest, he lifted her into his arms again. Her glowing marks pulsed against his armor, faint but painful looking. They moved through the dim generator room. Old machines sat silent like metal giants. The ceiling creaked under the weight of soldiers above. A faint light appeared ahead, an exit door leading to the old maintenance tunnels. "We just need to reach that door," Jace said, but as they approached it, someone stepped out from the shadows, a figure wearing silver armor. A familiar face. Lyra. She stood there alone, blocking the only exit. Her spear glowed with blue heat, casting a sharp light across the room. Jace instantly raised his weapon. "Myra," he warned. She didn't. Instead, she looked at her sister, really looked at her. Lyra's burned skin, her weak breathing, her fear. Myra's expression flickered with guilt, but only for a second. "Lyra," she said softly, "you shouldn't have run." "I only wanted to help," Jace scoffed. "Help? You held her down while they branded her." Myra's jaw tightened. "That was the Council's order, and you followed it?" Jace snapped. "She's your sister." Myra took a step forward. "You don't understand, human. Our world works on obedience. If I refused, they would have branded me too. They would have killed our mother. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. Mother is already gone, she whispered weakly. You know that. You just obeyed because you wanted power. Mira flinched. A crack in her cold mask, Jace lowered Lyra to stand behind him. Lyra told me what she saw in the archives, he said. The council steals from the people. They lied about sickness. They killed anyone who knew too much. Mira looked away. That is not your concern. Jace stepped forward, voice low and sharp. It became my concern the moment you tried to burn a child. Mira's face hardened again. This is your last warning. Hand her over. No, Mira sighed. Then I cannot protect you. Before Jace could answer, Mira slammed her spear into the ground. Boom! The floor cracked. Energy burst outward like a wave. Old fuel pipes ruptured. Flames shot into the air. The whole generator room turned into a fire. Trap! Jace grabbed Lyra and rolled behind a metal crate as the flames roared. Heat washed over them. Sparks rained down like burning snow. Mira! Lyra cried. You'll kill us all. Mira didn't respond. She simply walked through the smoke, her eyes cold and determined. Jace realized the truth. She wasn't trying to capture them anymore. She was trying to erase them. The flames spread quickly, splitting the room into burning paths. Jace lifted Lyra again. We need to get out now. He sprinted through the fire maze, dodging falling beams. Lyra covered her face as heat seared her skin. Fire reflected in her glowing eyes. Behind them, Mira shouted orders. Seal the exits. Let the flames cleanse the sin. Jace's anger boiled. They call her a sinner but burn her for knowing the truth. Cowards. The ceiling groaned. A large pipe burst above them. Burning oil poured down, creating a wall of fire between them and the exit. Jace backed away, coughing. Lyra looked terrified. They're going to trap us. Not today, Jace growled. He spotted a damaged ventilation shaft high on the wall. The metal was twisted and open, just large. Enough for the two of them. But reaching it meant climbing a half-broken ladder while the room burned around them. Jace didn't hesitate. He stepped onto the ladder and started climbing, one arm holding Lyra, the other gripping the metal rails. Flames licked at his boots. Smoke curled around his face. Lyra clung to him, whispering, Why do you keep helping me? Jace answered through clenched teeth, Because you deserve to live. That's enough. They reached the vent opening. Jace pushed Lyra inside first. She crawled through, coughing. Jace followed, pulling himself in just as the floor below collapsed in a burst of fire. Inside the vent, it was dark and narrow, but it led east toward the abandoned outer tunnels. Behind them, Mira's voice echoed one last warning through the burning room. You cannot run forever. Lyra, the council will find you. Lyra wiped her tears. No, she whispered. I will find the truth first. The narrow vent felt endless. Dust clung to Jace's armor as he crawled behind Lyra, pushing himself forward with aching arms. The metal walls vibrated with every explosion from the collapsing generator room behind them. Heat followed them like a chasing beast. Lyra coughed, her voice thin. Jace, I can't breathe. Just a little more, he whispered. We're almost out. He could hear her struggling, dragging herself inch by inch. Her glowing marks flickered like dying embers beneath her skin. Every pulse of light seemed weaker than before. Finally, the vent opened into a cold, wide tunnel. Jace helped Lyra down gently. She collapsed to her knees, taking sharp breaths. This part of the Undercity was abandoned. Broken pillars, cracked floors, old transport rails buried under dust. Strange plant roots twisted along the walls like long white fingers. Jace knelt beside her. We need to move. Mira will find another way down here. Lyra looked up, her eyes shimmering. She won't stop, none of them will. Jace took a deep breath. He was tired. His armor was damaged. His shoulder burned from the earlier explosion. But he kept going. I know, he said. But I'm not dropping you. She stared at him with disbelief, as if she still couldn't understand why a human would risk everything for her. Why? You don't even know me. Jace placed a hand on her forehead. She was burning with fever. You're a child who did nothing wrong, he said softly. That's all I need to know. Her eyes filled with tears she didn't want to show. He lifted her again, cradling her against his chest as he moved through the cold tunnel. Lyra pressed her face into his armor, exhausted. For a while, there was only silence, just their footsteps and the echo of dripping water. But then Lyra spoke, her voice soft and fragile. Jace, I heard Mira talking earlier. She said I saw something the Council fears, something more than their lies. You mentioned a secret, Jace replied, but you never finished. Lyra swallowed hard. I saw recordings of the Council meeting with off-world mercenaries. They traded something forbidden, something dangerous. And my father, he discovered it too. Her voice cracked. They killed him for it, and then they wanted me gone too. Jace felt anger tighten inside him like a clenched fist. They murdered your father, he said quietly, his voice dangerous. Lyra nodded weakly. He used to say, truth burns brighter than any fire pit. They feared him, and now they fear me. Jace looked ahead, scanning the tunnel. Distant lights flickered, maybe an exit, maybe danger. Then we expose them, he said. We show the galaxy what they've done. Lyra gave a small, sad smile. No one will believe a child. Jace looked into her frightened eyes. They'll believe me. A loud metallic clang echoed from behind them. Jace froze. Lyra tensed in his arms. What was that? She whispered. Jace stepped behind a broken pillar. His heartbeat quickened. Through the shadows they saw the unmistakable glow of Arunan spears. The soldiers had found the tunnel. Jace whispered, hold on to me. He tightened his grip and ran. The tunnel curved sharply, opening into a wide cavern where old metal bridges hung above a deep pit. Wind rushed through, cold and sharp. Their footsteps echoed loudly across the platform. Lyra suddenly gasped. Jace, please put me down. You're hurt. I can walk. No, he said firmly. She placed her hand on his chest. I don't want you to suffer because of me. He met her eyes. This isn't suffering. This is protecting someone who deserves better. The cavern trembled as more guards entered from behind. Their glowing spears illuminated the darkness. Jace moved faster, climbing onto a suspended bridge. The plank shook under his weight. Below them was endless black. Lyra clutched his armor tightly. They'll catch us, she whispered. Not while I can still move. Halfway across the bridge, a group of soldiers appeared at the far end blocking the exit. Jace stopped. Trapped. Lyra looked up at him, terrified. What do we do? Jace scanned the area quickly. The bridge's side cables were old but strong. The cavern wall was climbable. But before he could move, a familiar voice echoed, Human, do not make this worse. Mira, she stepped onto the bridge with her troops behind her, the wooden planks creaking dangerously. Her eyes were full of anger. And something else. Fear, Lyra, Mira said. Come with us. You don't understand the danger you carry. Jace held Lyra tighter. Stay behind me. Mira raised her spear. This is the end, Jace glared. No, this is where I protect her. Even if it costs me everything. Lyra's soft voice broke through the tension. Jace, please. Don't fight for me. They'll kill you. Jace whispered back. I'd rather die protecting someone innocent than live watching you burn. Mira's face hardened. Then both of you fall. She thrust her spear aiming straight at them, and the bridge began to collapse. Asterisk, the old bridge screamed as its wooden planks tore apart. Mira's spear strike had been too strong, and the entire structure groaned under the shock. A section near the middle snapped, sending debris into the endless dark below. "Hold on!" Jace shouted. He pulled Lyra close as the bridge tilted dangerously. Soldiers stumbled, grabbing ropes and railings. Mira herself lost balance for a moment, but her soldiers steadied her. The part of the bridge beneath Jace finally gave way. Crack! The world tilted. The floor disappeared. Jace reacted on pure instinct. With one arm around Lyra, he grabbed a hanging support cable with the other hand. The sudden stop nearly tore his shoulder apart, but he refused to let go. Lyra screamed softly as the two of them dangled above the abyss. Jace clenched his teeth, muscles burning. "Don't look down," he whispered, but Lyra already had. The pit below was endless, like the mouth of a giant beast waiting for them to fall. Above them, Mira shouted orders. "Cut the cable." They must not escape. Soldiers moved forward, ready to sever the line. Jace had seconds. He swung his body back and forth. Once, twice. On the third swing, he flung Lyra upward with all the strength left in him. She landed on a broken ledge above, gripping the edge with shaking fingers. "Jace," she cried, "I'm coming." He swung again, reached his free hand upward, and caught the ledge. The metal under his fingers bent dangerously, but he pulled himself up inch by inch until he crawled beside her. They had barely reached safety when the remaining bridge collapsed behind them completely. Mira stared from the other side, furious. "Run," Jace said. And they did. Through the tunnels, through dust-filled halls, through crumbling staircases until finally they reached sunlight. A blistering wind hit their faces. They had emerged into the desert, the endless Arunan wasteland. Lyra squinted at the harsh light. "Where are we?" "Far from the city," Jace said. "And safer than before." But the safety didn't last long. From behind, echoing faintly through the desert canyons, came the unmistakable roar of Arunan warbikes. They were coming. Jace set Lyra down on her feet. She tried to stand but immediately fell to her knees. "You can't walk," he whispered. "I can. I must." She tried again, shaking badly. Jace knelt and lifted her onto his back. "Hold on." She wrapped her arms around his neck, her forehead resting on his shoulder. Her glowing marks brightened and dimmed like fading fire. They walked across the rocky sand, leaving the ruined tunnel behind. The wind cut across them like sharp blades. The horizon shimmered with heat. But Jace didn't slow down. Their steps echoed in the silent desert. Lyra's breathing grew weaker. "Jace," she whispered. "Yeah, you're hurt. You keep carrying me. Why?" He didn't stop walking. "Because someone has to," he said softly. "And no one else here will." She closed her eyes. "For years, I thought no one cared if I lived or died." Jace tightened his hold. "And now?" "You came back for me," she whispered. "Even when the fire rose. Even when the arrows flew." He smiled sadly. "That's what humans do. We don't leave people behind." Suddenly, a roar broke the silence. Jace turned. Arunan riders appeared from the ridge-sleek bikes powered by glowing engines. Dust rose around them like storm clouds. "They found us," Lyra gasped. Jace placed her behind a rock. "Stay down. Don't move." She grabbed his hand. "Jace, please, don't die for me." "I'm not planning to die," he said. "I'm planning to protect you." He took out his weapon and activated the last of his shield plates. A faint blue barrier flickered around him. Not strong, but enough. The first rider charged. Jace dodged, fired, and the bike crashed into the sand. Two more followed. Jace rolled behind a boulder, firing as they passed. He fought with everything he had: strength, skill, and sheer human stubbornness. But he was getting tired. His legs shook. His vision blurred. One rider aimed a spear at Lyra. Jace roared and sprinted toward her, blocking the strike with his shield. The impact threw him backward. Blood dripped from his forehead. "Jace!" Lyra screamed. He forced himself up. "I'm fine," he lied. Lyra crawled toward him. Her glowing marks flashed violently. Something inside her snapped awake when the next rider came close. She lifted her hands, and a wave of shimmering light exploded from her palms, knocking the rider off the bike. Jace stared in shock. "Lyra, what was that?" She looked at her glowing hands, terrified. "I don't know. I've never done that before." Jace realized something. The sin brand. It wasn't blocking your power. It was trying to cage it. More riders appeared in the distance. Jace stood, pulling Lyra behind him. "This is our last stand," he said. "Stay close to me." Lyra grabbed his arm. "And I'll stay close to you." The desert wind howled. The riders charged. The desert wind screamed as the Arunan riders charged in a deadly formation. Their engines roared like thunder. Dust spiraled behind them, turning the horizon into a storm of red sand. Jace stood in front of Lyra, shield flickering weakly. His hands trembled, his armor cracked, but his eyes stayed sharp. He refused to let fear shake him. Lyra crouched behind him, her glowing marks burning brighter than ever. She was scared, terrified, but something deep inside her was waking up. A spark of power. A spark of identity. The riders came closer. "Lyra," Jace whispered without looking back. "If anything happens to me, run." She shook her head fiercely. "No, you carried me through fire. I won't leave you." Jace felt a strange warmth in her voice. Not weakness, strength. The first wave of riders lunged toward them. Jace braced, but Lyra stood up. The desert wind lifted her hair as her palms glowed with pure light. "Enough!" she cried, voice echoing across the vast sand. A shockwave burst from her hands like a silent explosion of light. It expanded outward, hitting the riders and flipping their bikes. Sand flew into the air. Engines sputtered out. Jace glanced back, eyes wide. She stared at her hands, shocked. "I didn't know I could do that." Jace stepped protectively beside her. "You're not a sinner," he said softly. "You're something they fear because they can't control you." The second wave approached faster, angrier. This time, Jace fought alongside her. He shot down riders, using every ounce of strength left. Lyra used her glowing energy to shield him from spears and arrows. Each time the soldiers tried to surround them, she unleashed bursts of light that confused their sensors. But there were too many. Jace staggered. His vision blurred. One rider struck his side, and he fell to his knees. "Jace!" Lyra screamed. She ran to him, tears filling her eyes. He couldn't stand anymore. The riders surrounded them. Their leader stepped forward, spear raised. "By order of the council, surrender the light-born child." Lyra hugged Jace tightly. Trembling, "I won't let them take you," Jace whispered, breathing painfully. "Not while I'm alive." The leader smirked. "You are no threat now, human." He lifted his spear to strike, and the sky roared. A massive shadow covered the desert. Engines far stronger and deeper than anything Arunan. A human dropship descended from the clouds. Sand blasted outward as the ship lowered. Human soldiers rappelled down with rifles aimed, forming a protective circle around Jace and Lyra. The Arunan riders froze. Shocked. The human commander shouted through a speaker, "Stand down! You will not touch them." The Arunan leader hesitated, then retreated. One by one, the riders fled into the desert, disappearing into dust and fear. Lyra collapsed beside Jace, exhausted. The humans lifted them gently into the HFY. Inside, medics worked fast. Lyra held Jace's hand as they treated his wounds. "You're safe now," she whispered, tears falling on his armor. Jace smiled weakly. I told you. I won't let you burn. She squeezed his hand. And I won't let you fall. The dropship carried them to the human base orbiting Aruna. Once there, everything changed. Lyra was taken to a special medical unit. Human doctors discovered the Sin brand was actually a suppression device meant to destroy light-borne energy. Once removed, Lyra's power stabilized. Jace visited her every day, even with bandages across his ribs and shoulder. Meanwhile, Jace reported everything to the Human Council. The Council's corruption, the fake Sinner brand, the murder of Lyra's father, the illegal trade with mercenaries, the planned burning of an innocent child. The Human Council forced Aruna's leaders into a full investigation. Mira was arrested. Other elders were removed from power. The truth spread like wildfire among the people. For the first time in years, Arunans realized they were being lied to. Lyra became a symbol, not of sin, but of truth. After weeks of recovery, Lyra walked through the observation deck of the human base. Stars glowed outside like small fires in a peaceful sky. Jace stood there, staring at the planet below. When he heard her footsteps, he turned with a gentle smile. You're walking again, he said proudly. Lyra nodded shyly. You helped me, so I wanted to get better quickly. Jace sat on the bench overlooking the stars. Aruna is rebuilding now. Your story changed everything. Lyra joined him slowly. But where do I go? I can't go back to the city. Mira is gone. My village hates me. Jace looked at her with kindness. You don't need to go back. You can stay with us if you want. Her eyes widened. With humans? With me, Jace said softly. Lyra felt warmth bloom inside her chest. For the first time in her life, she felt like she belonged somewhere. She leaned her head on his arm. Jace, thank you for carrying me through fire, through darkness, through fear. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. You survived because you're strong, he said. I just helped you see it. She smiled, bright, free, true. Outside the window, the stars shone like thousands of tiny lights. Lights that looked a little like hope. And Lyra whispered the last words of the story. I'm not a sinner.